What's up guys, it's Jake Lewis and we're back with another video. Today we're gonna dive into one of my favorite plugins of all time, Kramer Tape. So with Kramer Tape, I can change the tonal balance, add great sounding harmonic distortion, and add some depth all in one stop. So let's open up this song. It's called Something Strange by BEEZ. He's a dope artist I work with. I'll add all his links in the description if you wanna check him out. So let's quickly just listen to what we have with the Kramer Tape plugin on.
Something strange on the horizon. The genocide is televised. They surf into the island. Boats off of Geneva, got them sounding off the sirens. Project the picket.
Now I'm gonna switch the plugin off and on. Listen for the subtle differences.
Something strange on the horizon. The genocide is televised. They surf into the island. Boats off of Geneva, got them sounding off the sirens. Project the picket vultures hiding deep within the cypress. Poor and broken.
And I'll solo the vocal too.
Something strange on the horizon. The genocide is televised. They surf into the island. Boats off of Geneva, got them sounding off the sirens. Project.
So you can hear this plugin sets the vocal in the back so it's not so pokey. It shaved off a little bit of top end, added a little bit of distortion, and then we also added a slap delay, which gave a little bit of depth, added something in the back so the vocal wasn't so forward facing. So usually the first thing I do with this plugin, I think about the tonal balance. So the speed switch is where I get the tonal balance control. If I want a vocal, for example, to be brighter, I'll leave it on 15. If I want to darken the vocal a little bit because it's a little too bright, I'll switch it to 7.5. In this case, I wanted the vocal to be a little bit darker. Felt like it was a little too bright for, the style of song, so I set it to 7.5. So I'm gonna play it and we're gonna switch between 15 and 7.5 so you can hear the difference.
Something strange on the horizon. The genocide is televised. They surf into the island. Boats off of Geneva, got them sounding off the sirens.
Huge difference you can hear right there. And you can really hear it on the S's and the T's whenever you get sibilants like that. I found this controls it in a great way. So once I dial that in, then I go to the record level and I start driving it. And when I drive it, I then go to the FLUX knob and I play with that to see what kind of distortion I want to get. So let's drive the record level and play with the FLUX.
Something strange on the horizon. The genocide is televised. They surf into the island. Boats off of Geneva, got them sounding off the sirens. Projected picket vultures hiding deep within the cypress. Poor and broken, lonely curses.
So you have a lot of control over the type of distortion you get. And no matter how hard you crank it, the distortion always sounds nice. It really just depends on the vibe you want to go for and the effect you want to go for. A lot of times for cleaner sounding records, I'll still add this, but I'll keep the flux between like 150 and 185. And it'll still add, a vibe and a little bit of harmonics so that the vocal doesn't sound so digital and so clean, but it doesn't dirty it up enough to where it doesn't fit. So for this record, I wanted it to be pretty damn gritty, and that's what BEEZ wanted as well. So I cranked the flux up kind of a lot. Now when I'm setting the record level of the plugin, how hard I want it to hit, usually it's between like -7 and then into the red sometimes. It really depends on how much distortion I want to drive into the sound material.
The silence. I'm working, got my pacing when I'm shifting out the climate. Tell me what is wrong when the truth is not your home. Show me how to feel.
Now over here we have a slap delay. Usually I'm using this section as a slap to add a little bit of depth. So there's two settings here. You can switch between feedback and slap. So let's play feedback real quick so you can hear what it's doing.
When that brute is murder seizure, I don't need a plate cause my scale is in the freezer. Numbers always clicking when the pool table my bitch.
It's essentially just a delay. As you crank the feedback, it lasts for longer and it's louder. With this set to feedback, you can do some really cool effects. Like maybe at the end of the verse, you want it to delay and kind of dissipate into an abyss. You can automate the feedback knob and crank it as it gets further out. You can do some really cool effects that way. Usually I'm setting this to slap and then I'm playing with the delay time and the low pass filter to add depth and to make the vocal feel not so upfront and isolated. Crank up the slap real quick so you can hear exactly what it's doing.
The genocide is televised. They surf into the island. Boats off of Geneva, got them sounding off the sirens. Projected picket vultures hiding deep within the cypress. Poor and broken, lonely curses cry from the subconscious. I'll make the creepy insect humans work.
I found for me, for vocals, the sweet spot is typically between like 65 milliseconds and 110, depending on the tempo of the song. For this song in particular, I believe it was around like 74 I felt like was really good.
About they prophets, I'm showing who is false when I'm searching through the silence. I'm working, got my pacing.
That way, the slap delay doesn't feel so distant and doesn't interrupt the flow of the song. It's still kind of glued to the vocal, but it's still adding that depth I want. And then here's the low pass. We can just play with that.
Tell me what is wrong when the truth is not your own. Show me how to feel when that brute is murder seizure.
This helps you decide how prominent you want the effect to be. In this case, I did want to shave off a lot of the top. I wanted this to be kind of low in the back in the mix. So the way I got that was by shaving off everything above 5.8K. I think we have this set at like 14.2.
Don't need a plate, cause my scale is in the freezer. Numbers always clicking when the pool table my bitch. I ain't giving more than I need to, cause I got them.
And then next up we have the wow and flutter knob. And this really just adds a lot of texture, floatiness, and like waviness to whatever the sound material is. By default, the plugin comes at 50. I usually don't change it. I kind of like the texture it adds. Sometimes on like synths or pianos, for example, I'll crank up the flutter to like even like close to 100, and you can get some really cool texture from that. And then the noise knob, I usually set this to off. I don't want any additional noise. And that's my run through of the Kramer Tape plugin. I love this thing. It's a great one-stop shop to really get you going in a song. Like sometimes I'll use it as one of the first inserts to really catch a vibe for whatever the song is that I'm mixing or making. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any other video ideas or questions, please comment down below and I'll make sure to respond. Thank you guys. Deuces.